Good evening, everyone. Chris with the National Weather Service here in Columbia. The biggest change that we have for the expected winter weather this weekend is we do now have an ice storm warning, generally for around the I-20 corridor up to the north, covering much of our forecast area, and we've now also included a winter weather advisory for the rest of our forecast area. For the area in an ice storm warning, there is the potential for ice accumulation greater than a quarter of an inch, and elsewhere, we could get freezing rain leading to ice accumulation of around a tenth or 2/10 of an inch. And that will lead to dangerous travel conditions, likely developing late Saturday night into Sunday, and could also lead to ice accretion causing tree and power line damage, which could lead to power outages as well. So, again, we talked about this yesterday, but just want to once again go over our wintry precipitation types. What we are concerned about is freezing rain. And all things considered, it's going to look like it's raining out there, but when the rain reaches the surface, it will freeze on contact with surfaces that are below freezing. So, that's the concern. We get ice starting to form, especially on elevated surfaces such as tree limbs, potentially power lines, but we could also get ice on some any untreated roads, especially bridges and overpasses. This is a look at this graphic was shared by the Atlanta Peachtree City National Weather Service office, but gives you an idea of some of the typical impacts that we can see depending on how much ice accumulation is expected. But you can see it doesn't take much ice to cause significant impacts to the area. So this is a look at the probability of a quarter inch of ice on the left and the probability of a half inch of ice or more on the right. And the highest is continues to be north of I-20, and there's a pretty good gradient. So there's a little bit of uncertainty really as we get into the I-20 corridor, which is why we've kind of extended those ice storm warnings down slightly south, and we also have a winter weather advisory including in the rest of our counties, because there is still the concern that there's a little bit of uncertainty in the exact amounts. So what should we do? Well, now if we look at our winter storm planning timeline, we're starting to get into the day before and what we need to do during and after. Now is the time to consider adjusting your plans, especially if you have travel plans late Saturday night into Sunday. You might need to adjust those as travel will potentially become dangerous. Make sure that you keep up to date with the forecast. There's right now our warnings could change, but for the most part, our warnings are pretty much out. But there is still the potential for our forecast to change a bit. And make sure to bring pets indoors and ensure they have water. And then during the freezing rain event, want to make sure that you check in on your neighbors and your family. Any emergency heat sources, if you do lose power, make sure those are properly ventilated. And if you do use a portable generator, if you lose power, make sure to keep that generator at least 20 feet from your home. I'm not expecting any shoveling to be needed, but so you can ignore that last part. But make sure to keep up to date at weather.gov/CAE. That's where you're going to be able to find the latest forecast from us, the National Weather Service in Columbia.